Welcome to Outflow. I'm Alan King, coming to you from the studios of River of Life Church in Valdez, North Carolina. And I am so glad that you've made Outflow a part of your day. I want to say to you at the very beginning, before I forget, please go hit that subscribe button. If you like it, hit the like button. If you don't like what we say, just ignore us. But anyway, I'm glad that you've joined us today. I am thrilled to have some special guests in the studio today. I am joined by my friend Eric Griffin, Pastor Eric Griffin,
yes, sir,
of Trinity Assembly in Bessemer City.
Yes, sir.
And Eric and I go way back, probably further than we want to admit. And we're also joined by Garrett Drawdy.
Yes, sir.
Did I do good?
You did wonderful.
I always mess up his last name. I always put the R in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But so we're glad that they're here today, and we've got some great things that we're going to be talking about. Because if you are around these folks, you're going to learn that they are all about ministry.
Yeah.
How long have you been at? Well, you were at another church, right, pastoring?
Yeah,
and
we were at Crowder's for a church I started for 10 years, and then we run out of space, and Trinity was a church that had kind of died. Their youngest person was 60, and so we did a church merger, and God has just flourished it, and it's been a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Somebody was talking to me the other day. We actually came down, my wife and I and my daughter, a couple of weeks ago, because you have a podcast as well. Yes. And the name of that podcast is
Beyond the Glass Pulpit.
Beyond the Glass Pulpit. And we were talking that day about multi-generational ministry, because, of course, my wife and I are both preachers' kids, and then my daughter is in ministry. And we were talking about that. And when we left there, we took a tour of your facility.
Yeah.
And my daughter was talking about how that she said, Dad, everything about that property is about ministry, but not with the focus of the local church as much as community.
Yes.
Which is huge. I love that because one of the things that and I think I shared this with you when we were talking, when people ask me, how many do you have in your church? Because, in denominational religion,
how many you running, brother?
Yeah, that's always the question. How many are you running? My answer to that always is, how many people do you have in your church? Now, my answer is always, I don't know. How many people live in Burke County?
Right.
How many people live in Valdez?
Yeah.
And you have developed that culture there to where and I wish I had pictures, your whole facility there has pretty much been converted into a community center.
Right. We were intentional about that.
Yeah.
Because if you go back historically, from the time of the tabernacle, that was the community center. You go forward 1800s, everything from the schoolhouse to the voting, everything happened at the church building, and somewhere along the way in modern church, they've gotten away from community, period.
Yeah.
And one thing we're striving to do is to bring community back to the local house.
Yeah, and everything that I see there, because you've got, you've even got a place to where it doesn't even have to be a church day.
Right.
Or a special event. You just got places where people from the community can just come and hang out. I mean,
right. So that we're running the power there anyway. The air conditioner stays on. Everything's going on. So why not make it available for the community every day? The only day that place is vacant is on Mondays.
Wow.
And that we take that as our Sabbath, of course. But
yeah. I just think it speaks of the trend that we're seeing in the church, which is a good thing, to where the church is understanding we got to quit waiting for we have not done a great job
Right.
of the church getting out into the community or the community coming to us. We have built walls that have divided the church from the community.
Yeah.
There is no church without community.
Right. Absolutely.
And we got to fix that.
Somebody took the idea of separation of church and state and they took it literal, and it's like, well, we do church on church days and then everything else. I don't understand that, because if we're going to be involved in their lives, you got to be communal.
Yeah.
Jesus did it.
Yeah.
So much so they talked about him too.
Yeah. Well, the very word community
Yeah.
is common unity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But somehow, we see so many, and that, I think we're paying the price for it. We're seeing it because churches in America are, for the most part, are in decline.
Yeah.
Ever since, especially since COVID, we had a lot of people who just decided they didn't need church anymore.
Yeah. Well, they could go online and watch it from their pajamas, and so if you take community out of it and that sense of brotherhood and sisterhood and just family, you're left with online service.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's so sanitary, But Jesus called us to get our hands dirty.
Yeah, absolutely.
People want to be comfortable.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's just, I mean, like I said, we have definitely paid the price for it.
Mm-hmm.
There is no ministry without people.
Right.
Of course, I've also made the statement before too. Ministry would be easy if it wasn't for people.
Yeah, you got to love people.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
I love people.
Yeah, exactly. I heard I have a fellow Church of God pastor's son, who's one of my favorite musicians, a man named Paul Thorne.
Okay.
I know a lot of people just heard, you listen to Paul Thorne. Yeah, he's a fellow preacher's kid, but Paul released a song called "I Don't Like Half the Folks I Love," and every time I hear that, I'm like, yeah, I could see that, But we do have to love people, and I found out that the more I love them and the more I'm around them, the more I have an opportunity to like them.
Yeah, yeah. How can you like somebody you don't know?
Yeah, and there are some gems out there. There are some diamonds in the rough that if we'll just go out and take the chance to get to know them, it's amazing. Now, as far as what you're doing there, this will help some pastors that are watching. How did you succeed in getting your church to come along on that journey?
I think people have there is a natural longing that I believe is in our soul for us to come together. I believe that's something God gave us. And sometimes you have to rewire your congregation. And, you may not can accomplish it overnight, but it's the small things. It's, hey, instead of Sunday night service, let's go have ice cream social and just invite our friends to come and just have time to talk. And so you do the little things till they can become the big things. Yeah. So if you go in your church and say, we're going to do this, and overnight you're going to lose about half of them, you have to go in and you got to sell your vision. Habakkuk tells us, write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah.
I love what the Message says. I read the Message Bible every once in a while. The Message says, write the vision on billboards so big and so loud those that glance at it can run with it. Yeah. So you have to constantly sell your vision over and over and over. And if you sell it long enough, everybody catches it and they'll run with you.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done.
But I know I've never been to a service at your church.
Mm-hmm.
I've been and spoken at for your discipleship ministry, and then we came for the podcast. Are your people more? Do you have more traditional type people, or?
I'm gonna say I wish and I don't wish, because we have such a mix. I would say 20% of my congregation is traditional. They still show up in the suit and tie and dress to the hilt. I have 20% that is pajama bottoms and I'm just glad they're wearing clothes. And then the middle, they're just common every day. And so it's really interesting. And we've had to blend services and, our music selection. If you ever watch our online, it goes from very contemporary to Southern gospel to, the hymns. And we blend the service. And my music team, they do such a good job because we may start off with hymn number 333, and by the time we're doing Oceans by the time that we're getting ready to preach. So it's really it's a Heinz 57 church.
And nothing wrong with that.
No, it works for us. So
yeah,
it's community.
Yeah, there we go. I think the thing that I'm always hammering this, that it's because as I'm a musician, I'm not just a pastor, I'm a musician. I play guitar in our church. I play keyboards in our church. My thing has always been it's not what we're singing, it's why we're singing.
Right.
But I think one of the hardest things, because I know in my case, I didn't start the church here. Mm-hmm. When I came in, I was the youngest man in my church when I got here 24 years ago, and I knew something's got to change.
Right.
But boy, when we started changing, for one reason, harvest. Mm-hmm. For one reason, we've got to win souls, and we've got to, if you want your church to grow, the best way to do it, go reap a harvest.
And I think that's where people, for some reason, pastors nowadays think let's just fish out of somebody else's fishbowl.
Oh,
and I got some I'll send you if you want them. But the reality is, there is such a harvest. We got people dying and going to hell under the shadows of the steeple, and we're worried about where brother so and so went Sunday. If you go, and I'll bless you on the way out.
Yeah.
But I got a job to do, and that's to win the lost. And I got to stop worrying about what Bill's doing down the road or this one's doing it. I got pastors that'll call me and say, "Man, buddy, I love you in the Lord, but I ain't got time to mess with you. I got people that are dying that I got to go, help win to the Lord."
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm very passionate about, growing your church from the ground up, and from the church that we merged. I was at Crowder's, and everybody's like, "Well, you had a whole bunch of people when you started." No, I had 3 people. I rented a building on faith and stood out there, and the people that I had were not church people. The people that I have today, like I said, 20% are the hardcore church. That middle, Alan, they're not church. Yeah. And my youth leaders sometimes will come and they'll be like, "Whew,
yeah,
these aren't even church kids." No, they're not. They don't know the basics. They barely know there is a Jesus, much less who Moses or Noah or David or anybody else is. So it's been interesting. But if you want to grow a church, get out of the fishbowl and go get some, go to the ocean.
Yeah.
Cast the net.
Yeah.
So
I've had people that have left that I held the door for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you are holding back harvest. I've had people look at me and tell me, "We don't want new people. We don't want all these people coming in here with all their hang-ups and all their addictions." And I'm like, then what are we here for? Mm-hmm. If we're not interested in winning those people to Christ. And it's not just about getting people saved either. We've got to be willing to disciple them.
Right.
Jesus never said go into all the world and preach the gospel and get people saved so you can write it on a piece of paper. I had this many saved this week.
Yeah, if you don't have a discipleship ministry, and it doesn't have to have a fancy title or a back room somewhere, but if you're not engaging those who you led to the Lord, man, you're throwing them back into the wolves because they have nothing to stand on. Yeah. You got to get in there, and you got to help them with Scripture, and you got to help them. That's why, and I hate to go back to it, but it is what it is. Community. Yeah. If you jerk them out of this community, this drug community, and you just say, "Okay, you're saved now," they don't know anything else. Mm-hmm. They go right back into that drug community. So if your church is not providing community, you failed them.
Yeah.
I think about the parable of the seed. You plant the seed, and some of them grow up and they produce crops and they continue to do good. Some of them, the birds come in and pick up the seed. Some of them, the thorns come in. What's the farmer supposed to do?
Right.
He's not worried about those. He's worried about the main harvest.
Yeah. And I see that the people that I've had come into my church that stayed and became, and I'm not talking about money, but contributing members of the congregation,
right,
as far as ministry. And of course there's of course they come in, they get saved, they're gonna give offering, and it helps the church financially. But that's so many times that's been the core of our outreach, who can help us. But disciple them, raise them up, and they become the kind of people that can help. But I think that's been the great failing of the church. Not recently. This has gone on when I was a kid. When I was growing up, everybody knew the Bible. Even sinners knew the Bible. Now you get kids in the church that don't know anything about the Bible because they're not being taught. Yeah, adults too. But we've got to disciple. Jesus said, "Go and make disciples." Make disciples, and it's so important that we do that. And Garrett, I think that's a lot of what you do.
Yes, sir.
So what is your role?
So I am the discipleship director at Trinity.
Yeah.
A lot of what I try to do is not only am I being discipled by him, but I take in that part of what I learned and I try to give it to the guys that we have that live with us. So we all live on one property. We live in what I guess we would call the parsonage of the church. And we have our Bible studies. We try to do ministry, and we're trying to figure out what is their calling. What does God have for them? Because like you said, you pull somebody out of the whatever old community they used to be a part of, and you want to give them some kind of direction. If they have no idea where to go, they're going to fall. It's just inevitable at that point.
Let me clarify real quick. We don't all live on one property.
Myself and the guys.
Some guys he's disciples. I don't want it to sound like a Jim Jones quote. He has a group of guys. We turn the parsonage over to him, and then we bring in guys who are looking at ministry, want to do more for the kingdom, and whether they're living there or they come in and have classes and stuff, he handles all that. And so he is. What I've discipled him, he's intentionally discipling them to raise up the next generation to handle it.
Because whether it's a new pastor or somebody that does sound and tech for the church, music ministry, evangelism, whatever, and I don't know everything, but we have ways to figure out how to get them in places they need to be.
A lot of times we think ministry is just what happens behind the pulpit, and that is the least of what happens at Trinity, in your church too.
Yeah, we were just. We were just touring the facility here because y'all haven't been here, and I was showing you wanted to see the property, so I was showing you, and we were in the sanctuary, and I made the statement to you that it's amazing how that is not. It used to be the main thing in the church, but our sanctuary ministry is just a thing we do on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
That prepares us to go out all week long and disciple. There's ministry going on right now, every day of the week here at River of Life. There's somebody doing something, and our goal, what we try to do, is get everybody involved.
Right
now, I love the concept, and this has been in my heart for as long as I can remember. In fact, you were my youth pastor.
Yes, sir.
When I was pastoring in Charlotte, and we even would talk about things like this back then. To have an intern program, which is what you're talking about here.
Yes.
That you have an intern program training people, because it's not just enough to know how to minister.
Right.
You got to teach them why they're doing it, and to have that kind of program, I'm envious. If I had a building right now, I'd love to fill it up with interns, because we need to be preparing the next generation. We're at a point to where we have a crisis.
Oh man, yeah.
We don't have enough preachers to fill our pulpits.
I don't know about the Church of God, but I know the Assembly of God. They are in a deficit, And we have more ministers, and this is collectively with denominations, we have more ministers leaving ministry than we do going in. And so the church is in a crisis.
The median age in our denomination, now unless it's changed in the last couple of years. A couple of years ago, this is the statistic that I heard, and I'm not sure that it's changed. It may have even gotten worse. The median age in our denomination for pastors is 54 years old.
Wow.
That is very telling.
Mm-hmm.
We're not raising up a generation of young preachers.
So Lifeway did a study, and do you know that most pastors leave after 3 years?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about leave their church. I'm talking about they walk away from ministry, period.
Yeah.
So we're in trouble.
I just had a friend of mine been in the ministry almost as long as I have. Maybe not quite as long. I think he's a little younger than I am, but has been pastoring for decades. Last week, said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But
So whose fault is that?
well, that's what I was trying. I was trying to come up with a nice way of saying that, but that's basically,
Yeah.
I think that part of it is because we have not taught people why you go into ministry.
Well, I know the Church of God had the MIP, MAP, LMNOP, whatever,
Yeah.
and they stagger their degrees or their ordinations, licensed, ordained, and ordained bishop. I was privileged to go through all of that, and they try. But the old saying is, trying is the intention to fail. These guys, they go in and they have an idea. It's like, if I go to you and I say, Brother King, I'm ready to be a minister, your first thing is, well, let's, shadow me for a little while and let me see how you are so that I can send a report to the state office, and they'll stick you in these classes. And these classes are good for biblical understanding, but the practicum, man, not one. There was hardly any practicum in all that. It was like, we want you to learn how to exegete scriptures and how to, and how to put together a sermon and all. And those are great. But man, what do you do when you walk in the hospital room and that person's dying and they're ready to give up on God in their last minute? Nobody helped me in that. Or little small things like, when your son comes up to you and says, "Hey, Dad, I'm gay," and and the dad comes running to you and says, "What do I do?" The practicum is what's killing us, because we're not discipling future pastors.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been my pet peeve for so long, because there are things as a pastor that people don't have a clue.
No.
We
don't.
only
work 2 days a week. You only work 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I hear that all the time. And thankfully, the people that say that to me, I know they're joking, but you only work 2 hours a week, But people don't realize the nights that we don't sleep, not because we're out doing anything, but because of what's going on in here in our minds. We find out that that a member that has been with us for years and has been very faithful just got a diagnosis of cancer.
Right.
Or a member that's been with us for years and has been so supportive, all of a sudden is mad at us.
Right.
Whether it's something big or something little.
Yeah.
I can't just laugh that off and say, whatever. That eats at me.
Yeah.
Every time, and I've said this from my pulpit many times, every time somebody leaves my church for whatever reason, I take it personally.
Right.
My wife takes it personally. What did we do wrong? What did we do to make them mad at us?
Yeah.
And, those are the kind of things that early, what happened to me first? I was 19 years old, 19 when I got married. Now, people would say that was awful young. I married well. My wife saved my life. We just celebrated Sunday 46 years of marriage.
Wow. Congratulations.
She saved my life, because if I hadn't met her I wouldn't be preaching, probably wouldn't be serving the Lord. I'd have probably tried to live out my dream of going to Nashville and being a country star.
Right.
I was ready to pack my guitar and go. But 19 years old when I got married, I had just turned 20, 2 months after my 20th birthday. They put me in a church to pastor.
Wow.
20 years old, almost 19. But, you know, folk around me said, if you're ever going to be successful in ministry, you have to be a pastor.
Right.
That was the mindset back then. So they throw me into this little church. I had 13 people the first service. Second service, I had 4. It took me one service to tick them off and make a bunch of people leave.
Right.
They left because my wife cut her hair. They went and asked her, do you cut your hair? Well, yeah, I get it trimmed. No, do scissors touch your hair? Well, yeah. Well, we're not coming back. And so 9 of my 13 people left. I had 4 left. But anyway, I called I didn't call the state, my overseer. I didn't call him because I got to tough it out. I got to prove to him that I know how to do this. So I didn't call. Well, the hole kept getting dug deeper. I started getting new people in, but I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing. And at no point was I able to say, hey, what do I do here?
Right.
Help me. What do I do? I finally got to the point that I had to go and talk to somebody. I had to go to headquarters and say, hey, listen, I'm out of my element here. What do I need to do? And the only concern that they had was just hang in there a little bit longer, and we'll find you something bigger and you can move up. Well, if I'm having trouble with this many,
right,
put me in a church with this many, with no more training.
Right.
Let's see how that works out.
Well, here again, there's such a deficit. We're creating our own problem when we're trying. I mean, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't have, I guess you'd call it like a parachurch, or if you go into as a new minister, they should give you a sister church to meet with, to help you at least for a year or two, somebody to lean on and say, okay, what help, because we just, all right, guy, here's your keys. We'll see you. Make sure you send your reports in.
Yeah. Yeah. I made the statement to my wife last week. We were talking about confessing our faults one to another.
Mm-hmm. We still do that?
Well, we're supposed to, but I made the statement to her, I have a very short list of people that I can trust. Mm-hmm. As a pastor. Right, yeah. I have a very short list of people I can trust. I have an even shorter list of pastors that I can trust. Mm-hmm. Because if I've got something bigger than they've got and they want it, right, yeah, I don't dare let them know that I'm wounded. Mm-hmm. I don't dare let them know that I'm struggling with something.
Well, prime example, and younger generation won't understand this probably, but like our generation will, PTL. And Jim Baker got in a mess, and he called one of his pastor friends, exactly. Jerry Falwell, and said, hey, I'm in a mess. Jerry said, fine, I'll help you out. I'll just sign your ministry over to me till you get out of this, and I'll sign it right back over to you. Yeah. The fall of an entire, ministry because somebody got in trouble and they didn't have a way to talk to somebody. So I understand what you're saying. You get wounded, you're like, you hide the wound so long it becomes cancerous, and, by the time somebody realizes you're in trouble, it's just too late. Yeah. So how do you fix that?
Well, we got to do better. I tell you what, can we come back? Yep. And let's talk about that. All right. What can we, because there's a lot we could talk about there. So why don't we do that? Yeah, exactly. Let me give you a case in point. I just thought of something when you were talking about that. My dad, I got a call several years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago. My mom and dad were on vacation at the beach, and I got a call from my sister. Dad's had a heart attack, so we had to take off and go to the beach. We get down there. Dad's fine. It's been years ago. He still does 200 push-ups every morning. Dad's great. Just turned 87 years old last week. He's in great health, but he had a heart attack. And Dad, after he got feeling a little better, he called the overseer, our state overseer, and he said, I just want to ask you, how many people felt led to go to my church when they found out I had a heart attack? Mm-hmm. And he told my dad, he said, I had over 20 people that called me when they found out you had a heart attack and said, if he don't make it,
wow, I
would love to go and pastor at Lincolnton.
I wonder how many called your dad and said, I'm praying for you.
You said that. You know, that when I heard it, I laughed, and then I got sick to my stomach.
Oh, yeah.
These things ought not be.
No.
But that's why we have trust issues in ministry.
Yeah. I mean, pastors are modern-day mafia.
Yeah. Oh, okay, let's come back. You can come back? You got time?
I'm good.
So we'll come back.
Right.
We're going to come back for part 2 of this, and I hope you'll stick around for that, especially if you're in ministry. And I feel like today we're speaking to some ministers. I just feel like today that maybe the Lord directed some pastors, some ministers to listen to this podcast, and we're going to be able to speak life into you. I will say this, and I'm just going to put this out there. If you are a pastor, especially young pastors, and you're struggling with some stuff right now, you don't even have to tell me who you are. Email me. If you'll email me, I'll give you my phone number, and you can call me. I would be happy to help you navigate what you're going through. I don't want what you have. I don't want your church. I don't want anything from you. But I've been where you are. And if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And I'm sure, Pastor Eric, you'd be the same way. Yep. Let us know if there's something you could do. If you know, Garrett is involved in interning these young ministers, and if there's anything we can do, let us know. Our email address is very simple, outflow@outflow.online. Outflow@outflow.online. I know what it is to be in crisis as a pastor, as a minister of the gospel, and how you feel like you're out there on an island all by yourself. You're not. There really are people that will care enough about you to help you through what you're going through. And again, you don't even have to tell me who. Email me. Don't even have to tell me who you are unless you want to. And I'll pray with you and I'll talk with you because, again, I feel your pain and I want to help you if there's anything that I could do. So we're going to come back. Thank you so much for joining us for Outflow today. And we're going to come back with Eric Griffin and Garrett Drawdy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what we can do to encourage
absolutely,
one another in ministry. And so I hope you'll join us for that. In the meantime, get out there and be blessed. And while you're at it, be a blessing.